Hello again, I am Blanty. So Epic Games have an interesting blog post this morning that says a lot of the right things, but in effect is perhaps one of the dumbest possible solutions to a big problem that, well, come to think of it, it's a pretty normal solution for a corporate entity to think up for a problem that is a bit of a big problem. That is, won't somebody think of the children? How do you protect children from the online and the way people feel free to behave online? Do you try and fix the behavior of other people, putting children at risk? Do you somehow magically make parents give a shit? No, instead you put in place a parental control system that is implemented in possibly one of the stupidest ways I've ever seen. And then when shit goes wrong, we go, well, it's not our fault. We have a system in place for that. It's not our fault you didn't use it. Let's have a look and break this down a little bit, shall we? Because, wow. So, Epic Games Cabined accounts. What a cute name for an account for a kid. It's cabined. It's safe, like a little log cabin in the woods. It's all safe and warm and cozy, and not at all surrounded by bears and insects and poisonous snakes. Well, sorry, venomous snakes. Poison and venom are not quite the same thing. So, cabined accounts. That was a weird sidetrack. Not so weird for an Australian though. It's pretty important for an Australian to know the difference between venom and poison. Cabined accounts are a new type of Epic account that will provide a tailored experience that is safe and inclusive for younger players. If a player indicates they are under 13 or their country's age of digital consent, whichever is higher, their account will be a cabined account, and they will be asked to provide a parent or guardian's email address in order to receive consent to access certain features in Epic's products. While waiting for parental consent, players will still be able to play Fortnite, Rocket League, or Fall Guys with full access to previously purchased or earned content in-game, but won't be able to access certain content or features until their parent or guardian provides consent. Seems sensible enough, right? If you said yes, you missed a key bit of wording there. Let's continue. The following features are disabled in a cabined account: communicating with other players using voice chat or free text chat, purchasing items with money, downloading games that are not owned by Epic, recommendations based on past activity, email marketing or push notifications, trades in Rocket League, sign in with Epic, including linking accounts to certain external services such as social media websites or video streaming applications, custom display names, SMS-based two-factor authentication. They're locking kids out of two-factor authentication for some reason. Interesting choice. While waiting for parental consent in a cabined account, younger players or developers using Epic Games Store Launcher can view and access their library, but will not be able to get new games or access certain Unreal Engine features. Players can access features that are unavailable in their cabined account by having a parent or guardian provide parental consent and complete the account setup, or when they reach the age of 13 or the age of digital consent in their region, players can resend the email requesting consent from a parent or guardian by going to the Epic account portal and following the instructions under request parental permission. Seems sensible enough, doesn't it? If you said yes, you missed an important part of the phrasing there. So let's tab across to the cabin account specific page, not just the announcement, and have a read here and see if we can drill down to the problem I'm having, if you haven't picked up on it yet. As we work towards the future of open metaverse, companies building social experiences need to think about how to meet challenges and raised expectations that come when kids participate in online ecosystems. Some companies approach this challenge by creating an isolated experience solely for their younger players, but these experiences are usually restrictive and unappealing when compared to the full gamer activity and may encourage false reporting of age. We'll come back to that. Another approach has been used to offer a fulsome experience for younger players, but if kids do not obtain permission from their parents, they are locked out entirely with no alternatives. Neither of these are optimal. And yeah, you're on the right track there. Kids will lie about their age to get access to the full experience because they don't like the idea of being restricted or treated like little kiddies. Because one of the things that happens from about the age of 10 to 15 or so is a kid starts rebelling actively in order to establish their own identity as a person. This is a very well understood psychological concept. It's very, very normal for a kid to act out. That's why teenagers are so, rebellious. It's part of our programming. Our brain is designed to go, well, okay, it's time to figure out who we are as a person, as an independent entity separate from our parents. It's time to rebel against whatever our parents want us to do and choose our own path. Utterly and completely normal. So when you tell a kid, hey, you're going to have a restricted experience because you're just a stupid little kid, they're gonna rebel against that. Which is why they have the wording in here about falsely reporting age. The problem is, Epic seem to completely understand this simple concept, and yet they're having all players self-report their age. The issue here is, of course, most parents who aren't necessarily involved in gaming. I mean, a lot of parents of kids that age these days will be, Gen Xers like me or the millennials and things like that. And we're slightly more plugged into this kind of stuff. So we might be slightly more aware of it. But not all of us are gamers. Not all of us have remained gamers. And not all of us are that aware about how this stuff works. We just, some of my peers might just rely on what they've heard on mainstream media about how online games work or something stupid like that. The kids playing Fortnite and Rocket League and whatever, are going to be fully and instantly aware of this news. It will spread like wildfire. There's no way they're not going to miss this news. So what is going to happen when Johnny Sproggy, the 12-year-old Fortnite player, gets asked by his Epic account when he logs in over the next few days, hey, Johnny Sproggs, was Johnny Sproggsville the name I gave him? I've already forgotten. It's off the cuff thing. Hey, Johnny Sproggsville, what is your age? He's going to know, well, if I answer my age correctly, my account is going to be more restricted than it used to be. I'm not going to be able to do this. I'm not going to be able to do this. I'm not going to be able to do this. I'm not going to be able to voice chat. I'm not going to be able to change my username. I'm not going to be able to buy games. I'm not going to do any of this stuff without asking mummy and daddy for permission. What do you think the chances are that Johnny Sproggsville is going to answer correctly when asked for his age under those circumstances? Let me read the paragraph again for you here again. Some companies approach this challenge by creating isolated experiences solely for the younger players, but these experiences are usually restrictive and unappealing when compared to the full game or activity and may encourage false reporting of age. Epic Games are doing nothing to address that issue. The issue they know about. The issue that's in their very article talking about the system they're putting in place to protect kids from this kind of stuff. They're asking kids to self-report their own age or knowingly lock down their account. And this is what I'm talking about. This is the key thing that they missed. They're saying all the right things, oh, this is the problem. It's a big problem. We must protect the kids. Here's how we protect the kids. If any kid is on our service and we have a cabin account that's going to protect them, they can't use voice chat, they can't use text chat, they can't spend your money without you knowing about it. It's perfectly sensible and safe. And why won't somebody think of the children? We're thinking of the children. That's what we're doing. Except for the massive loophole of self-reporting your age, which the kids will do before the parents even hear about this news. So it is yet another system in place, like pretty much everybody else who's ever done a system like this who have separate or restricted accounts for kids, under a certain age. It's there for their own protection. It's there for Epic's protection, not the kids' protection, not the parents' protection. It's for their protection. Because now when something goes horribly wrong, and a kid talks to someone sleazy online or learns a bad word from someone, I don't know, like a high-profile YouTuber I might have recently made a video about or something like that, who are you going to blame for that behavior? Who are you going to blame for these kids learning these bad lessons online? Well, it can't be Epic. They have a system in place to protect kids. It's not their fault you didn't use it. It's not their fault you weren't aware enough to stop your kid lying about their age by a couple of years just so their account wouldn't be restricted and they can continue using and playing their games the same way they have been doing so far. They haven't voluntarily chosen to restrict and reduce their access to their favorite game of all time. It's not Epic's fault. It's your fault. Clearly. And to be fair, this is a very difficult problem to solve. Because how else are you going to do this but self-reporting? It's not like you can send a note home from the principal's office, sealed in an envelope, and, you know, when the parent gets it, oh, this envelope's open, you've read this, Johnny Sproggs-a-lot. That wasn't his name. It is now. Sproggsville. Teenagers. Might have gone too far on that one. But you see what I'm saying, right? It is easy to throw a stone at Epic and say, well, they don't give a shit about their kids. They're protecting themselves because, well, that's exactly what's going on. But I don't have a better solution to suggest. I haven't put a lot of thought into it because I don't have kids, never wanted kids, never intending on having kids. So, you know, I don't have a... My brain wanted to say the phrase, I don't have a goat in this fight. That's not a phrase. Not in this timeline. I haven't had my coffee yet this morning. Maybe that's the problem. Thanks for watching. I am Bluntly. I'll catch you next time. If you are a parent or indeed, for some reason, a child watching my channel, which, according to my statistics, there aren't many because I'm very deliberately not trying to appeal to that audience because kids are shit. But yeah, if you have a better thought on this, you know where to put it down below. Hopefully along the way you've done the bell and the sub and the busy. Thanks as always to the patrons scrolling up above there, who's active and above and beyond support is important to me as well. It would help if you did the thumb and the sub on the bell and stuff like that because algorithm stuff. But those guys are awesome.